Hello, 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 everyone. Hello. Welcome to another episode of a Brown King production, where we are encouraging and uplifting men. This is Nathaniel Thomas Ford, and I have in my lap, in my arm, Grace Jones, our little lady of the house, Miss Grace. She's actually going to be turning 7 months next Tuesday. So yeah, she's 7 months. If you can see her, if you guys are listening to the podcast, definitely thank you. If you're able to see it, she actually have her Christmas outfit on. So all the dogs in the house, all three of them, Grace, Marley, and Ziggy, have their Christmas outfits that they will be wearing until Christmas Day is over with. So she's loving hers. She's actually loving the dress up process of everything. As you see, she's up in my lap, just moving around. She's a very active puppy. I don't feel like she's a puppy. She's so freaking tall. They told us she was a toy poodle, but I'm not seeing the toy in Grace. Grace feels like a miniature. She's really tall. You can actually look at her little face or whatnot. She's active. She is my ride or die. Like anywhere I go, I'm doing anything. She has definitely imprinted herself on me, as well as the other dogs. But Grace and I are very close. Like I said, if she hear me waking up or coming out the bedroom and she's in her playpen, she's the first one. Like the little nosy little kid, that's Grace. That is Grace. But she's a sweetie. So when I got up this morning, and just so you guys know, there's time where I can wake up in the middle of the night. Um, my sleep patterns is getting better, but it's still a little bit ironic. Like Charles tell me all the time, when do you sleep? I'm like, well, your sleeps. I get a little couple hours in here and there. But Grace is always up watching what I'm doing. I joke around with her sometimes because I do feel like she looks like a little Alf doll because she's red and she looks like him when her hair is growed out or whatnot. Um, she's actually up, but still a little sleepy right now. So this is my ride or die. So I brought her in the office with me. So I was like, okay, I got to get up and do a video, my weekly video. And I was like, what best way to come in and do it than have Grace in here with me? Like I said, she brings a lot of joy to me. Now, Marley and Ziggy do as well. I've had them the longest. Almost March will be 3 years that I've had them from the time that they were about 8 weeks old. But Grace is the new one in the family, the baby. So she spends a lot of her time with me per se. Um, and we're the closest out of all the dogs. Marley is next, then Ziggy. Ziggy is definitely more close to Charles. He definitely took a nap with him. But this one right here, she gonna be with me. And being a female, I guess me and her have a really good connection. But I came to you guys today to really talk about actually Grace is really part of the conversation and not just Grace, but Marley and Ziggy as well. Um, we've all seen the news. We all kind of know that mental health is really at the forefront right now. We just lost an amazing entertainer, talent, individual, Twitch from So You Think You Can Dance, as well as from the Ellen Show. He actually is from Alabama, where I'm from as well. But to hear of another man um, choosing to shorten his life due to whatever the reasons were, I don't know. I wasn't I wasn't there. I don't know his struggle, but I can tell you from life experience, it's some of the struggles that we all deal with on a daily basis. It's really up to how we process, internalize things, deal with things, move through things, and situations in life. Because I'm going to tell you something, guys. Life is not easy. When I say life is not easy, the actual part of living life is somewhat easy, but it is the things in our lives that either we learn to master them and how we react to them, or they get the best of us. I'm saddened to hear anytime a person lose their life, choose to shorten their life on this earth, um, for whatever reason. I'm still a believer of God. Um, I think once you learn to receive Him in your life, He helps with the processing. He helps with navigating your way through things. And as you see, Grace is up here licking my lips because I got lip tap on, and anything that any inclination of food she loves. This dog has the best freaking appetite I've ever seen. Like, her appetite is better than mine. Like, every time I walk through the kitchen, I'm either grabbing some water, grabbing some juice, grabbing some tea, coffee, a shake, something, fruit, something. And every time she see me, she's like, "Oh, you eating? I want to eat too." So that's what she's doing. And I also do that as a trick for them to keep them engaged when we're doing videos or whatnot. So there's a method to my madness, just to say. Um, but she's doing really good. I'm proud of her. She's sticking with her training and whatnot. Um, but to back to what I was saying, um, I think there's a hurt in this country, especially in the Black community and especially in the um, men, that we avoid tough issues. We avoid things that are not going to give us instant gratification, and it comes up and bite us in the butt on the back end, that we are violent, that we don't know how to deal with conflict resolution. We shut down, or we just start being violent for whatever reason. I've only shared in all of my videos on YouTube's Uplifting and Encouraging Men, Facebook, TikTok, my experiences as a man, as a Black gay man in this country, and as a Black gay boy growing up in small town Alabama. There was a lot of things that happened in my life that was hard, traumatic, um, that I had to get counseling for. I believe that counseling is a part of the work that you have to do, and we all have to do that work. Those problems, those traumas, those traumatic experiences, those ups and good times, those things just don't go away. You can't just block them out for a long period of time and not have to deal with them. Life has a way of presenting situations to you over and over and over again until you learn how to work through it and process it and deal with it and understand that there's some good and bad in all of it. But I think it starts with us first acknowledging and patting ourselves on the back that we made it this far. I didn't get the tools that I needed to process and help myself go through these traumatic experiences that I went through. Issues such as being molested, being raped, fathers not being there. My father raised other people's kids instead of raising his own kid. Growing up in a single parent home, a mom working 2 and 3 jobs at a time, feeling abandoned, low self-esteem, not feeling loved, not feeling appreciated. Um, Feeling like in my life, the younger part of my life, I was more of playing a supporting role than the main role in my life. So counseling, getting closer with God, having a better and a closer relationship with Him, having a minister that ultimately became a mentor and a close friend, and we would have these Sunday Saturday talks, him and I, and we would just talk about everything. And he was still my friend, my minister at the time, and we're still in contact to this day. But we just talked as men. An older man, he was in the military, became a preacher, still a preacher, has an amazing family, amazing wife who we love on each other to this day. Him and I built a friendship where I was at the church cleaning the church, and he was the preacher there doing, getting ready for Sunday service and his week and all of that. So we would spend a lot of time together in the church, just sitting there talking about life, experiences, good and bad. It wasn't, I didn't really understand what we were doing to later on, to when I moved away and relocated. And I think I haven't been there in like 5 years almost, but I still hold it to this day. I can hit him up on Facebook, on Messenger, or anything, and we just pick up that conversation where we left off. And that's amazing. And I I've learned to nurture that over the years because my father wasn't there. So it wasn't like he was filling a father void for me, but it was someone who was able to give me things in a different perspective. Because sometime in our life, we're so bogged down, we're so caught up with what we're going through that we miss moments, that we miss to understand what we're going through and what we're dealing with. And sometimes we may just take it lightly, like, oh, whatever, blow it off. And it's something that really needs to be talked about and unpacked and dealt with and analyzed and felt. As men, those are things that we don't do a lot. And situations, I'm not saying that what happened in this guy's situation was an outcome of that. But I will tell you one thing, being around enough, being hurt myself, having mental issues myself, dealing with that in my life, I will tell you one thing, I can spot it a mile away. There was some hurt that was happening in his life that wasn't addressed, wasn't dealt with, wasn't unpacked, wasn't talked about, wasn't felt, wasn't analyzed and scrutinized. You want to get down, mama? Come on, let's get you down for a while. So, and those are the situations that I say come back and bite you in the back, because you are dealt with all of this emotion, all of this hurt, all of this pain, and it has to be dealt with. It has to be analyzed. It has to be talked about. Because if not, what ends up happening a lot of times is they start presenting themselves in your daily life, in other relationships, where you feel like you have these walls up or you've been hurt or you've been whatever wrong. And those are all valid feelings, but those things need to be addressed. They need to be addressed because you will start feeling like you are living someone else's life, not living your own life, that no one is listening to you, that you're not a part of the world anymore, or part of the community, or a part of anything anymore. You just feel like you're just a zombie walking through life. Those are all feelings and things that I felt when I didn't have the tools to do what I need to do to process that and to deal with it and to understand it. Because I feel in every situation, every circumstance, there's some learning, some healing, some forgiving that needs to occur. And when those things do not happen, that is another pebble in the box of the bucket of your life that is only able to carry so much. And when it gets to a point where it's overwhelmed, it starts dragging you down. It starts feeling heavy. You start feeling like if I just sleep a little longer, um, I feel better, or the problem will go away. Or, if I medicate myself, or if I drink a little more, or if I have more sex, it's going to make this feeling that I feel go away or improve. But it's not. Those things are still there. They still need to be addressed. And that's why I push counseling, where you can go and have somebody to really help you unpack that bucket. Really start looking at each and every stone in your life that you never thought, well, it was, it really doesn't mean anything. I'm a man, I can deal with it. It's not important. Yes, it is. It's very important. It's very anything that deals with you and your health. And I'm not just talking about your physical health. I'm talking about you mentally, spiritually, and emotionally needs to be addressed, need to be talked about. For me, also writing things down in a journal. I love to write. My mom always tell me, she said, I love your penmanship. I was like, I like your penmanship. She said, no, you have really good penmanship. I said, really? I just like to write because people think I'm really smart. I'm smart at knowing how to set things up and plan things and write things down and come up with a plan and have an action to knock out those things. And what is the reward? What is the time schedule that I'm going to get this finished? I think we need to do the same thing when it comes to our emotional state. Um, this week, I will tell you, it was a hard week for me. And I was feeling it. My husband was feeling it. He was like, look, you're stressing out. I see you stressing out. I see you doing everything that you can do. That's all you can do. And I was like, you're right. You're right. I said, I just know what I want to do and what I could do. And it's just not getting there. He's like, no, you're doing everything you can do. There are situations that are hindering you from doing that. You can't change that. So ultimately in life, we have to realize there's things that are going to happen to us that we cannot change. We can only work and improve on things that we can control. Everything else is out of our hand. It's out of our hands. And you got to be real with yourself on that. And I said, something, and midway through the week, I said, something, I know what I need to do. I need to go to the country. I need to get some trees blowing, to hear some wind and smell the crisp air and all of that. And we don't live too far from that, from a rural area. So I went to check on my fur baby nephews. I have some fur baby nephews. Yes, some of you guys understand. And I get to spend a lot of time with them being close to me. And they're some big boys. Like you see Grace. Grace is a little small, prissy toy dogs. That's what we have in our household. And Marley and Z are two Maltese. They're prissy dogs. But there's another side of me that is rough and tough and like to run and roll around in the grass and all that stuff. So that's what I had to go do with my nephews. They're big boys. Like I'm sitting in a chair. Literally, they're like up to here. They're like terrier pet bulls. Pet bulls. They're huge. They're huge, massive. Like they will stand up and they're like on my shoulder, and I'm like 6 feet. So long story short, I knew I was stressing out this week. I was feeling stressed. I feel tested. Hold on, I'm just checking on Grace. Oh, she right here. What you doing? Okay, you good? All right. So I said, you know something? Let me go check in with the boys and see what the boys are doing, the big boys. So I got there, got to the house, and massive acreage. And I got to just run with them, literally take them by their chain one by one. And we just run around the property, like 5 acres of land. We just running around and having fun, rolling around in the grass and all that stuff. That centered me. That helped me. I'm saying this to you guys because there's some things that we need to do in our lives to help get those mental breaks when we feel like we're about to break or we feel like we're about to go over the top. I have my dolls because they're emotional support dolls. They have become emotional support dolls for me. I sat down with my doctor at the time and my medical doctor, as well as my psychiatrist, and we were like, what are things that you can do at home that can take you away or give you that instant gratification that we all love and need at times? And I was like, well, I do love animals. I love dogs. So I have the 3 dogs that we have, Charles and I. We also have Turtle. We have 2 turtles. They're behind me. You can see the 2 lamps. And I've had them for about 4 years. And we have fish in the living room in 2 different aquariums. All of those things for me helps me to think outside of myself. And I'm good at taking care of other things and other people. So those are my other things that help me stay zen, to stay relaxed, to stay grounded, to stay centered. Also in my office, you guys are not able to see, but one of my videos, I'm going to show it. I also have a prayer rug where I feel like I need to get on the floor and get on my face and get centered with my God and meditate. I have that right there. I also have a yoga mat on the other side. I have 2 yoga mats that are put together. So when I feel like I need to burn some energy, I get over there and get to working out. I have like my weight bands, my gloves, my push-ups, my sit-ups, all of that stuff. These are things that I have done in my life to help me mentally and physically to be able to get out of that troubled feeling and work it out naturally. And still being somebody that was in recovery, I still have to keep that in mind as well. Because as a recovering addict, the first thing to do is, oh, well, for me in the past, it was, oh, go pop your pill. Go pop a pill and keep on going. But I don't do that anymore. I find other ways to help, as well as my husband. That man is really a gift to me from God, because he could see me, like he called it noisy brain, my noisy brain. And when my brain start going, my hands start going, and I'm like writing and I'm thinking, and I'm like, okay, if I do this, I need to do this. And he would sit there and tell me, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm trying to get all of this done. He said, no, what are you doing? And I was like, you know something? I feel like there's a little, like a war going on with me, or the tornado is about to start. He's like, you need to calm it down. You need to bring it down. He said, because you're going to tire yourself out doing what you're doing very quickly. Slow down. Slow down. Breathe. Think about what you're doing. Talk to me about what you're doing, because that takes all of that pressure off of you. It does. It takes all of that pressure off of you. And he didn't want to see his spouse running around here like a chicken with his head cut off, because I'm getting stuff done. Now, one thing about me, you're going to know, I am a very productive person. I don't like wasting time. My granddaddy and my mom taught me that. Don't waste time. We don't, in our home, we have a lot of clocks. That's what a tribute to that I have from my grandfather, because he always told me, do not waste time. That is the most expensive and the most precious thing that we have. So always, not saying that you always need to be working. Okay, guys, you hear Grace down here. She's under here. The little mat that you put down on the chair so the chair can roll around on top of carpet. I don't know what it is for her, but she just like to do this on it. That's literally what she's doing underneath the desk. So I'm gonna let her do whatever she's doing. So those are the things that I use and that I do to help keep myself centered. Grace, 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 darling. Please. Thank you, Mom. Come on, let's come back up here with me. Come in. Come on. Oh, girl, you getting so big. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna pick you up like this. Thank you. Thank you, Mama. Okay. So, but we have to find those ways, healthy ways to de-stress ourselves. We have to find those ways of how to process hurt, pain, anger, success. We're quick to throw a party to celebrate a promotion, but patting yourself on the back and encourage yourself before you get to that point, as well as processing that loss, that hurt, that pain, that job position that you didn't get, need to be talked about. It really needs to be talked about. Um, there's so many services out here today, where I remember a time when I was going to therapy, and I've been in therapy almost 45 years old. I would say a good almost 30 years of my life have been in therapy. Hell, at some point, my mom told me, she said, child, you need to become a therapist. She still says that to this day. She's like, you need to be somebody's doctor. I'm like, Mom, the time it takes for me to go to school and do all of that, I don't know if I have it in me. I was like, but I don't mind sitting down, helping and encouraging someone and talking to someone and helping them process through whatever they need to work through. And why I'm saying that, I'm at the point of now in my life where if I turn on my phone, well, it stays on, or the television, all the televisions we have, I'm tired of hearing about men killing themselves, especially Black men. Anyone listening to this podcast, you ever feel like you need to reach out to somebody? I'm offering myself up. Reach out, message me, call me, text me, whatever you have to do. I'm on all social media links. This video is out here. Anyone knows that you know a man that needs someone to you. If you know a man that needs to talk to another man, give him my contact, because I feel like there's people in life like myself who, I'm not saying I know it all, been through it all, seen it all, but I know how to talk somebody off of a cliff. I've done it many times. What I'm doing now is not just something I woke up one day and said, I want to do this. I remember being in high school, talking people off ledges who were saying they were going to kill themselves. I'm like, well, Okay, let's talk about it. Walk me through why you want to do this. Make me understand it. Um, because I do believe talking about things, talking to the right people, will make it better. I don't know if I could have saved the young man that passed, but I tell you one thing, he wouldn't have felt alone. And that's something else we need to realize in this world, people. When we were born, there were decisions made. There was people there waiting for us. Through life, the same thing happens. But some kind of way we get disconnected, number one, from ourselves and from the people that really love us. Um, and then when we leave this world, there's a decision made. There's people there to help the process go along well. The point I'm making is you're really never truly alone in this world. Number one, I've called God up so many times. I know he said, if this child, if he calls me one more time, and for me, to be honest with you, me getting closer to him have changed my relationship, have changed my communication with him. I feel like now it's more of a, excuse me, of a conversation with an amazing friend that has always been there for me, even at my lowest. Even when I did the most unthinkable thing, he was always there. Even when I've gotten the biggest award or my biggest celebration in my life, or when I got Gracie, he was right there. So having someone that is not going to beat the Bible down on you, but having someone like that amazing preacher mentor that I have, that I know he's a preacher, but he didn't sit there and try to beat the scripture on my head. He sat there and talked to me as a man, as a black man. Yes, he was a heterosexual man. He was a preacher. He was married to an amazing first lady. And he was still able to help me through a lot of situations, through the smallest thing and through the biggest thing. If I start another business today, he will be the first person saying, whatever you got, Brother Thomas, I'm buying it. Whatever you say is good, I'm tapping into it. Whatever podcast you got, I'm taking that link and sharing it with some of the people at church or linking it up with me. He's always been there encouraging me, uplifting me. So for me to do what I'm doing now, I'm only reciprocating what has been given to me. Because as I've told you many times, I did not get here overnight. There was another counselor that I had. He out of Jacksonville, Florida. This man was, oh my God, he was, whew, many days I left his office raw. When I say raw, I pulled and talked about so much. And there was time when he was like, okay, okay, Nate, our session is over. I'm like, I don't think I'm ready to go out this door right quite yet. I think I may need another time. I think I need, do you have another client after me? Because I'm not ready. Like, you don't open me up. You got me all vulnerable and stuff. And I don't talk and cried and snotted and everything. And you want me to get up and walk out that door and go live this life? He's like, mm-hmm. He's like, because you can do it. And he said, I know you're going to go and do the homework and write in your journal and be ready to tell me about, because we talked about what was bothering me, whatever it was. If it was 3 things bothering me, we talked about those 3 things. He was like, okay, let's examine it. Let's talk about it. How did it make you feel? What did you want to get out of this situation? Why did you do that? And do you want to fix it? And I was like, yeah, I want to fix this. Or no, I just want to get over it. He was like, okay, let's do it. So there's work that have to go along with it. You got to be willing to do the work. We're quick to say, okay, my stomach is not looking the way I need it to look. My pecs are not popping the way I need them popping. My arms are not looking. Let me go grab me a gym membership and work out like a dog. Well, literally, sorry. But when it comes to our mental, when someone tells you you're very combative, you need to examine that. There's a reason why you're very combative. There's something happened to you to make you always feel like you need to have your force field up and ready to fight or go back and forth with somebody. What happened to you? Or somebody's tell you, you don't communicate, you don't talk. Okay, you need to go talk to, you need to make an appointment and go to the counselor. When I say a counselor, a therapist, a psychotherapist, whomever, but you need to address those problems because those problems stem from something that has happened to you in your life to make you that way. You just didn't wake up one day and or be born and be combative and don't want to talk and angry all the time, or you feel like you can't be yourself, so you got to go sneak around and do things. Um, the first thing you do when you get upset is you go off, start cussing, hitting walls and stuff, or drinking, or popping pills, or having sex with multiple partners. Whatever the reason is, you do what you do. There's a reason behind that. There's something happened, or just you're just trying to process the things that happen to you. You're in survival mode. You're in fuck everybody else, I'm gonna do me mode, and that's a fucked up mode too. That needs to be addressed. That needs to be talked about. That needs. Why are you at that point where you're saying fuck everybody else and I'm gonna do me? There's some anger in that. So it needs to be talked about. I also do feel like we need to reach out. We need to have that suicide hotline number in our phones. Everybody. Everybody. Or you need to have somebody that is going to help hold your hand, hold you accountable, talk you through things that are going on with you. And I would say we need to check in on our friends and family and loved ones. We need to do more. We need to do better. Because, like I said, I have people in my life that are there to help check me. Like this little dog right here, this dog, no matter what, she going to come up to me and want to lick me in my face. The way me and her communicated from day one when we purchased her in the pet store, she locked eyes on me. I locked eyes on her. I didn't look at any other dogs. I saw her. She didn't look at any other owners or people wanting to buy other than me and Charles. And she locked eyes on me. I locked eyes on her. I told the guy, I said, I want to see her. They brought her in. We had to get in a little cubicle area and sit down and close the door and sanitize our hand. And when me and her first met each other and we did this, we knew that was it. That was it. So we need people in our life that are going to not just take I'm okay. Because for me, oh, I'm okay is not an answer on how you're feeling. That does not tell me what your temperature is. If you're hot, you're cold, or you're feeling to the point where you want to take some pills and go to sleep or end your life. I'm okay. Don't tell me that, because a lot of people have been okay and ended up dead the next day or hours later. I need to have some real conversations with you. That is where a therapist or a counselor or an amazing preacher, a pastor is going to sit you down face to face and talk to you. Now, yeah, you may go in there and BS the first couple sessions, but you better get them being who they are. They're going to let you BS and skirt around what brought you in today for a minute. And then they're going to get there and pull their pad out and sit there and look at you and analyze you and start going in with their questions. So I'm that person that's going to go in with some questions. I'm going to listen to you, to what you got to say and how you're feeling. And then I'm really going to get in and start asking some questions. Because there's some hurt, there's some pain, there's some brokenness that needs to be addressed. And I want to tell everyone that you matter. You really do matter. You would not have been born in this world, to this world, to not matter. The situation, circumstance, feelings, sin, all of those things make you feel like you don't matter, or you're not appreciated, or no one is not going to even know that you're not even there. That is the brokenness in us that makes us feel that way. Those are those, as the Bible say, those iniquities that are right there that chokes you. that muzzle you and make you feel ashamed of all the things that you've done and gone through in this world. But I'm going to tell you, last time I checked, there was close to about 8 billion people. You are not the only one that has made a mistake, that has sinned, that has fell short, that has done something that was so just downright just nasty. But we all have at some point. And you are worthy and precious and need to be heard and need to be loved on and need to be appreciated. I remember a time growing up in small town in Alabama, Dadeville. We were raised Baptist. We knew all the churches. All the churches knew each other. Oh, you're talking about Nate Thomas. Oh, they go to this church. Oh, you're talking about such and such Thomas. Oh, they go to this church. My mom taught me how to be a missionary first. She said, Junior, no matter what in your life, how busy you are, or how busy you think you may be, or how important you think you may be, always have the love of people. Check on people. Check in on people. If you haven't seen someone or haven't heard from someone, show up, knock on the door. Ask to see them. Call them on the phone. Tell them, hey, when can I come by and have coffee, tea with you? If you don't have it, I can bring it. When's the last time you had you a good pound cake? If you haven't, let me bring you one. And when you're bringing that pound cake in or that coffee and that tea, go in, ask to come in and sit down and talk to them. And she taught me of not being so engulfed in my life that I couldn't check on my fellow man. She taught me no matter what. My mom taught us how to just give, and give. Pray to God for discernment so you will know who to give to and how to give, and not to be a giver where, oh, I'm giving so they can take a picture and show that I believe in my community. No, when nobody else is looking. Check in on the elderly, check in on the sick and shut in, check in on the kids. Make sure they're okay. If you see a child walking them down the street by themselves, check in and see what's going on. Where's your parents? Why are you walking up and down the street? Why are you out at this time of the night? Let's call the police officer and get somebody involved. Be active. Take more of a ownership role in your life and what's going on around you, because this world it doesn't exist of you. Like I said, there's almost 8 billion people in this world. If everybody focused on themselves, it would be very selfish, very cold, very lonely. But as I said earlier, anybody listening, if you know someone that needs somebody to talk to, offer them my number. They need someone to get involved, because I'm going to initially get involved. We're going to talk. We're going to find you a therapist in your area, because last time I checked, insurance still pays for therapy. Last time I checked, Medicaid, Medicare, all of that still pays for therapists. So if you don't have a formal job, we're going to start the process to get you active and involved. At the end of the day, everybody needs a counselor. Everybody needs an accountability partner. Everybody needs a good missionary in their life to be there for them, to stand in the gap, encourage them. Everybody's going to need a partner like I have that checks in on me and hold me accountable. Or if I feel like I'm frustrated, on the top of frustration, he's there to listen. But be able to be ready to talk. And you can't hold all of that stuff in. We're just not built for it. Holding all of that trauma, that stress, somebody wronged you, somebody hurt you, the job situation you in, you never feel like you can get ahead. You always feel like you're reacting instead of being proactive. All of those things are great conversations you need to have with someone. Because if we could do it all by ourselves, we would have been designed to do that, but we're not. We're not. Everybody needs somebody to help them. Everybody needs someone to lean on from time to time. Now, I'm not saying that I can help plan your life and it's going to be like roses and drinking Sprite. I can't tell you that, but I will tell you, you're not going to feel like you're physically alone. You're going to have somebody that you can talk to. I've had situations, I've had people call me or get my contact information, talk to me. I talk to them. I learn things more about myself as well. So it's not just I'm trying to help the world. I'm learning things about myself as well as I go. That I'm a conqueror. And you are too. You just need the right tools to help you get through all of that you're trying to push your way through. You just need somebody to help you. That's all. Like a Gracie. Grace can be there helping anybody. As you see, she just loved to be held and being close to somebody. Well, especially me, because she knows she got daddy. So I want you guys to know, let's look around in our community. We see all of the craziness that is happening, all the disparaging things. Oh my gosh, if you turn the news on, if that don't depress you, I don't know what will. So stop watching it like I did. Stop watching it. Start doing some of that work behind the scenes. I always, as I address the man, I always like to address men as kings. There's a reason I do that. Because a lot of us have never been told that before. A lot of us don't feel like that. A lot of us feel like, I'm just here, man. I'm just here trying to make it through, trying to make things happen. And I'm losing every day. That's why I say king, to encourage you. You are a king. We all are kings. And we have some amazing queens. You don't have to rule England and have all of the whole jury to feel like a king or a queen. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the way you look at yourself. It's the respect that you have for yourself. And in having that respect for yourself, you're able to appreciate others that are around you. At the end of the day, that's what I want to do, is to help shape the world that we see around us. It's quick, easy, fast to say, oh, you know something, you're depressed, go take a pill. Oh, you depressed, go have you some brews. Oh, you're depressed, man, just go get some of that Hennessy, that Crown, that Jack, whatever. But let me tell you something. You got to be willing to do this work for yourself because you're worthy of it. You're worthy of it. That drink, going between the multiple women legs, lying, cheating, just not going to help it. Those are all temporary fixes. You got to be willing to sit down to examine why you feel the way you feel. You do. Because if not, you're going to be in a situation where life going to get the best of you. And I made a promise to myself that I would not let life drag me. I'm going to drag it. I'm going to understand what my purpose is on this earth. I'm going to understand that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm going to understand that I'm the head and not the tail. I'm a lender, not a borrower. I'm the top, not the bottom. I was made in the creation of my creator. I may not know everything right now, but I will. It may not feel good right now. It may not smell good right now. I may be broke right now. I may not be the right person to be hired right now. I may not be approved to get this apartment, this house right now that I want. But that's not going to always be. I believe in God enough to know that. I believe enough to know that at one point in time, I started my therapy appointment with, look, we got some work to do. I'm a hotmess.com right now. And some days I just don't feel good. Some days I just feel like shit. I started my therapy sessions with that. Every day. Well, every appointment I had. And there was one time, there was a period of time I had to go to therapy 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. There was a lot that had to be unpacked, worked on. But I will tell you, by the end of the treatment that I had with that therapist, and with I had one therapist for I want to say for a year. And I had others like 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And I did go into rehab for therapy all day, every day, 5, 6 days a week. Because I really wanted to understand the whys behind what I did. Um, and it helped. I started making, and I still do it to this day, get up early in the morning and do my reading and devotion and meditating and praying and stretching and working out. And I started that in the morning, and then I'd also do it in the evening before I get ready to go to bed. Because once again, I had to do the work. I had to commit and submit myself to something that was hard than me. I had to understand that I couldn't keep faking the funk. I couldn't keep wearing these masks that I had on my face. Girl, what you doing? I swear you're doing the most. Sit down. Sit. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I had to physically do a lot of things. But looking back at it now, I'm glad I did it. I'm so glad I did it. And I'm still doing it. Because when you start something and you make it a habit, it takes about 45 days, it becomes a routine. And then you got to think about, I started changing the people I hung around. I started changing my addresses. I started making myself not so accessible to people. I only make myself accessible to people that are either on a movement, starting a movement, or finishing one. Because I didn't let everybody, just because they had a mouth and a butthole, be in my life. Because, as you know, mouths and buttholes, they can be filthy. Real point. I wanted people that were doing more than just sucking up air. Or I wanted to be around people that was works in progress, that was conquerors like myself. Now I understand, and I would tell you, everybody don't get there overnight. Like I told you, this has been a struggle for years for me. But as I told you, it got to the point where it stopped being so intense. I stopped being a victim. I stopped feeling like everything was happening to me. To I'm going out forging my future. Grace girl, sit. You got to see. And it improved because, like I said earlier, I was worthy of it. We all are worthy of it. I know sometimes it feels like it's not enough time in a day. I know it feels like I'm too old for this. No, you're the right age. You're at the right point of your life. So look at the people around you. Look at the way things are happening to you in your life. It was this young man's time right now. All of our time is going to come up soon. Everybody, death is going to knock on all of our door, whether we the person who shortened the time and made it happen at that moment, or we stayed on this earth a little bit longer. I hope there's things that I've said that has been helpful to you guys, because like I told you, this is just my life journey. I'm just sharing with you guys what I do and what I've done. And I'm still working. I'm still working and improving and getting better for myself, because I want to be the best version of me. I want to be the best version of myself. And it got to the point where I couldn't blame anybody else. Excuse me. I couldn't play the victim anymore. I couldn't keep packing the stuff back and thinking I deal with it later, because the shit got to stinking. It did. Ain't gonna lie. Relationships, I was a mess. But I made it through it. I did the best I could. But even though doing the best I could, I was letting people know I'm in active counseling. I'm going to counseling for everything. So they knew that they were dealing with a work in progress. Because like I said, we don't kind of get this where we are. I didn't get this wisdom, and all this experience. I didn't have that stuff when I was in my early 40s, 30s, 20s, 19. I didn't have that. We were all just trying to survive and make it. I understand that. But what are you doing today for yourself? What are you doing? How's your mental health? And we say it so much. But every time you hear something, somebody just ended their life. or you see another angry black man in America or another angry black woman. Let's start taking this, and I'm mentioning us because we do not believe in going to therapies. We don't. I don't know why black people don't want to go to therapists. I don't know. We need that. Living in these United States, we all need that. All people of color need therapy. I actually say everybody in the world needs therapy, but we need to be the first ones there. We really do. We got some stuff that needs to be unpacked, examined, talked about, some forgiveness that needs to happen, some aha moments need to happen, some writing in some journals, some broken, some generational curses that need to be broken. Because I go with I challenge my family all the time, like, child, look, I'm telling you what I do. I go to therapy. I write in journals. I constantly analyze and examine myself because at the end of the day, you can only hold yourself accountable. And hopefully, the version you have of me now is the better version that you had in the past. That's all I want to do and be the best I can. Because you can go buy all of the Gucci, Louis Vuitton, MCM, and still be a hot mess. .com, as I said earlier. You can still, and we put all that stuff on, that makeup, all of that stuff to camouflage what we have, the dripping diamonds, the big house, the $350,000, $500,000 house, the condo in the sky. We do the Mercedes, the BMW, we do all that stuff as a way of masking the hurt and the pain. Because when you sit down and talk to that person, you're like, I could have went to the fast food restaurant, went to the back and hung out with a trash can. Real talk. I'm just gonna tell you, real talk. Because if you get around someone that have a strong mental well-being, they would rather be alone or be with pets than be in a company of other people. I'm just gonna be honest with you because I go by energy. If your energy ain't right with me, mm-mm, mm-mm, you're not coming around me. I'm not dealing with you. I don't even want to be on the phone with you. But if I see that you're trying to work and become better, I can rock with you. I'll fight with you. But when I see that I have more of the dog or the tiger in the fight than you do, I'm gonna bag myself up and be like, look, you going to go on this on your own because your mental health, your well-being, your struggle has to be at the top of the forefront of your life. I can't go in and fix you and make you better. No relationship can make you better. Only thing you're doing is taking in casualties of the war that you've been fighting yourself and losing. Let people know that you're a hotmess.com in the beginning, and they can make a decision if they want to be around you. Or you're a work in progress. How are you a work in progress? What are you doing for yourself? Well, I go to this doctor. I know all of my levels. As a black man, I know all of my levels. I see this therapist, do telehealth visit with this therapist. I work out at home. I don't want to go to the gym. I'd rather work out at home. I have 3 dogs. I exercise with my dogs. For instant gratification, my dogs, my turtles, my fish. You're talking to somebody that actually have a plan in place and working on improving themselves. Instead of getting with somebody, I ain't got nothing to say. But you seem angry. I don't want to talk about it. My daddy didn't go to counseling. My mama didn't go to counseling. I don't believe in counseling. Well, that's why you're a hot mess. Because you need to sit down and talk to somebody. Because what you're showing me is big boy, lack of maturity, lack of talking about what you're going through, lack of being in tune with your feelings. And I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of that. That's why a lot of relationships don't work. People do not need to be in relationships because they lack the emotional maturity and they don't know how to love themselves. You can, like I said, check the energy, look at the person. The apples don't fall far from the tree. If that tree is looking crazy, them apples are rotten, there's a reason. That individual need to do some work. So, in closing, I thank you guys for taking the time to listen to me talk about mental health, talking about we matter. Each of us matters, but we got to be willing to do the work. There's no pill, there's no sex position or sexual experience, there's no drug, there's no liquor, there's no quick fix that we can use to fix what has been broken in us, but us actually taking the time to work on it. Please know I love you guys. I'm thankful for having this opportunity to talk to you guys about everything that I think is important, and your mental health, you being okay. And like I said, if you need an accountability partner or someone to talk to about all of this stuff, I'm always available. I would make myself available, okay? But just be willing to do the work. Because sweet talking and sweet talking, oh, it's not that bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Sit, Grace. Sit. I'm getting tired. She needs to get back in bed. I did wake her up. Well, she woke me up, really. So, I hope you guys take the time. Take the time to step outside of you. Turn that cell phone off for about an hour or two. And think. Just think. Or just enjoy the quietness. Like for me, I have like three tanks in the house. I just love to hear the water running through filtering through the tanks, going through the fish and the turtle. Or just sitting out, like I said, out on the country and just sitting. And just looking at nature, looking at the different trees, just paying attention on what's going on around me, other than being so self-engulfed in my life. I hope you guys take something out of these videos. I hope you're taking something out of what I'm saying. I'm dropping all the jewels, all the gems that I know that have worked for me. As I've told you many times, I am not a doctor. I am not a therapist, but I am someone that know how to conquer things. And if you want someone to help you through that stuff, I don't mind. Not at all, because helping you, I learn a little bit more about me, and helping you helps me to know that I have been freed and delivered from this, because it has no home on me. And what things do in life, you allow to bog you down and hold you chained to, it will. But I don't want that for myself anymore. I want to be as free as I can. Because being 6 feet, brown, gay, black in America is enough. That's enough for me. I got enough struggles already being there. Okay? I don't need to be adding any more things to hold me down other than that. Okay? So you guys, take care of yourselves. Be blessed. Be a blessing too. Know I love you. Take care of yourselves. And thank you.